So, Mr. Allison's class, here is California, and here is my house. This is Jeremy, Mr. Allison's brother, and there's the car that we'll be using to drive to Google with. Oh, and there indeed is the open garage. Just to let you look, that's a palm tree. There's my neighbours, and there's across the street. Just to give you an idea of, here is sunny California, Cupertino. So, here is the car that I'll be using to drive to Google. And the interesting thing about this car, you can see here, it's a clean air vehicle, and that means it's electric. So, let's put my stuff in the boot. You can have a quick look at me while we're getting in. Always remember to buckle up. And here is the sound of an electric car starting up. So that 71 there means that we have 71 miles. And you can see the console here. Now listen, here's the interesting thing. It is completely silent. So, we'll close that door and be on our way. So that faint beeping you hear is my car saying, I'm backing up, I'm backing up. Oh, and there's the console with the rear view camera view. So, off we go. And as you can hear, it's completely silent, just a small whir of the motor. So here we are, going along Poppy Way in California, in Cupertino, which is where I live. Turning onto Rainbow. All these houses here are apartments where people rent and live. So here we are, getting ready, and we're going to turn onto the main road and get ready to go onto the freeway, which is what they call the motorway in America. And here's a Gardner and a Federal Express FedEx delivery truck. Local shops here are a garden centre and the coffee shop. So here's an interesting thing about the lights in America. And of course, one of the things that you will notice is that we drive on the right hand side of the road, not on the left. That must be weird for you, huh? So, the lights go straight from red to green, without going through yellow in between. And as you notice, even though it's the end of January, it's a beautiful blue sky and sunny day. So here we are. You know what? We're not going on the freeway, not right now. Let's take a little tour around Cupertino Main Street. So here's something you'll probably recognise, the McDonald's, right next to a Chinese restaurant, Golden Palace. The one thing you'll notice about Cupertino, about this street especially, is how many Chinese shops there are. Because there are many, many Chinese and Indian residents in Cupertino. So it's majority Chinese and Indian. There's someone going past on their bike. So what we're going to do is we are actually heading up to the headquarters of Apple Computer. Now, if your parents or you have got an iPhone or an iPad, where we're going to go past is where they're designed. So I'll give you a little look at the shops and other things on the way. There's Starbucks coffee, everyone's favourite. And there's more Chinese shops, Japanese cuisine. And there we are, look, a big city of Cupertino, which is where we are at the moment and where I live. A telescope shop, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and up here on the left is the big Chinese supermarket, Ranch 99 Market, where you can get live crabs, live fish, live frog, all sorts of interesting things to eat that you don't normally find in England. Right, here we are going on the right hand side. We're coming up to near where Apple is. You see the palm trees up there and ahead, showing how warm the weather is here. Starbucks everywhere. And there is a very big hotel, because when people come to stay and see Apple, they like to stay nearby. Right, over the intersection. And now we'll start to see some of the Apple buildings. If you'll notice, there aren't many high-rise buildings here. There aren't many buildings more than 4 or 5 stories. And that's because here in California, we get lots of earthquakes. So very tall buildings would fall down, so they're not allowed to be built. Here we are. I don't know whether you can see that, but there's a little blue Apple sign. And here are some of the Apple buildings on the right. There's our local bus service. Runs on natural gas, I think. So we try and use as many green technologies as we can, like electric cars. Oh, and you can probably see the different license plates and the different kinds of cars, which are probably very different from the ones you get back in Sheffield. So watch and the light will go green. It's a very dry climate. We don't get much rain. So as you can see, many of the trees look kind of dry and dusty. It's not much green. It's nowhere near as green as Sheffield is. Here's some of the plants by the side of the road. Okay, we're off. And there you can see the sign for San Francisco on the left lane, which is where we're headed. Not to San Francisco, but nearby. And over there, behind that building, here is Apple. That's the Apple headquarters. It's where the iPhones, iPads, iPods, all of the electronic gadgets you know and love, that's where they all get made. So, or at least designed. They get made in China, like most of the things. So what we're going to do... Oh, they're repairing the road here. So we are going to turn onto the freeway. Here's some more houses. That's another hotel near Apple, near the palm trees. And over there is the freeway. I will give you a glimpse of the freeway, and then we'll be on our way to Google, which is where I work. Sorry for the shaky camera work, but I'm holding it in my hand as I drive. So waiting for the lights again, I'm afraid. So it'll be interesting to see how many differences between Sheffield and Cupertino that you can see when you watch this video. I've lived here for so long, over 20 years, that I don't remember anymore. This all just seems normal to me. So this is just... Oh, look at these wonderful artwork on that truck. South Bay towing truck. It's a very American style truck there. Okay, off we go. And we're turning onto a very big freeway or motorway indeed. This is Highway 280, which is about 5 or 6 lanes wide, probably much wider than the motorways you see in England, and goes all the way up to San Francisco. You can see there are the signs. 85 north, which is what we're going to take to go to Mountain View. 85 south would go to Gilroy. And there in the distance you can see the Santa Cruz Mountains. And behind them, is the Pacific Ocean, which is very beautiful, but I'm not going to be able to show you that today. Maybe another time. So, here we go. We're going north to Mountain View, which is the headquarters of Google, where I work. We'll see how the traffic is. Looked very bad this morning, but we shall see. The signs, I'm sure, are very different. They use different colours, and the markings on the roads are probably quite different too. But as you can see, the main difference is the weather. We have beautiful blue skies and sunny days, probably about 10 or 11 months out of the year. So we don't have to wear heavy coats most of the time. There's an interesting truck being stopped by the police. Up there on the left is an interesting thing. That's the carpool lane. And if you can see the signs there. And when the road is very busy, only electric cars like mine, or cars that have 2 or more people in, are allowed to use that lane. We don't need to use it now because the traffic's going really smoothly. But that's a bonus to try and get people not to sit in their cars on their own, to try and get them to share the cars. Because we're trying to cut down on the amount of fumes that come out, because we tend to get bad air on days where there's a lot of cars on the road. There are a lot of cars in California. So there we go, Mountain View, not too far. As you can see from my console, we're doing about 75 miles an hour, 72 or so, which is actually faster than the speed limit. The speed limit is 65, but I'm going a little fast because the road is so clear. And here you can see that indicator shows how much battery I've got left. And that's the indication on how much power I'm using. And that little indicator there with the trees on it, that's growing a tree, shows me how efficiently I'm using the electricity in the car. Oh, let's slow down a little. There's another tow truck. And we're nearly at the end of the freeway, and we're nearly at Google, which is where I work. And that's when I'll stop the video for you. So the whole state of California isn't very old. It's really only maybe a maximum of about 150 years old, so we don't have any old stately homes or old buildings. The oldest building in Mountain View is only 100 years old. So many of the houses in Sheffield are much, much older than that. Here we go, briefly in the carpool lane, just so I pass that tow truck. There's another electric car, same kind as mine. They're very popular, these small electric cars. There's a much bigger model called a Tesla electric car that's very popular, but that's a lot more expensive, so you don't see so many of those. But electric cars are becoming very popular here in California. So, Shoreline Boulevard is what we're heading up towards. And there we go, just to show we have some graffiti here in California too. When that's north of San Francisco, we're heading off onto Shoreline Boulevard. It's called Shoreline because it's near the San Francisco Bay, and so it's actually right next to the bay, which comes down here. There's the NASA Ames Research Center, you can see, over there, on the right. And here we start to see some of the big technology companies that live here in Silicon Valley. So the building up here on the right there, that is, can anyone guess? Microsoft. There you go. And here is where Google starts. That building up here on the right with the purple top is the Computer History Museum. So let me show you some of the scenery. It's not terribly interesting, but this is what I see every day. Okay, so we're heading to the right onto Shoreline Boulevard. If you like, you can follow along on this on Google Maps. I'll show you where I am. There is the Computer History Museum. Which keeps copies of all the old computers going back many, many years. There's 7-Eleven, a very popular store in the US, convenience store. We've hit Google Town. Almost all the buildings around here, a lot of work being done. These are all Google. So there's the first Google sign. You'll see many, many more of those. And so this is where the search engine gets created. Actually, it's up that road a little bit that you can see. Here's an interesting thing. In California, if you're stopped at a red light, even while it's red, if there's no one coming, you can just turn right. Bet you wish you could do that in Sheffield. So here's Google, and as you can see there's someone on a Google bicycle. So we get between buildings by riding bicycles that are provided free. There's another Google sign. In fact, from now on, it's everything Google. They're doing some work here. Let's see if I'm able to get into my building. And here is where I work. Google Research, 1225 Charleston. And the nice thing about Google is that they provide electric charging points for electric cars. So let's see, yeah, there's some free over there. So what that means is that while I'm at work, the battery in my car is being charged up. There's a Google bike, there's a fitness centre and gym. Here's the back of the building. And I'm going to park here. As you'll see, electric vehicle parking only. And I'll show you plugging in, which you might find interesting. So first I've got to open the panel. Lock the car. And now I identify myself. There you go. Now I can remove the electric plug, and here is the how you put electricity in an electric car. Plug it in, there it goes beep, and now you can see those little blue lights on the dashboard. Can you see them? Yep, flashing, showing it's charging up. And so here is Google. Hope it's been an interesting video for you, but I have to stop now. I'm not allowed to film inside because that's where the magic happens. So hope you guys are all having a great time in Sheffield, and I'll maybe send you some more videos soon. Bye!